Hello and welcome to the Growing Green podcast. Your host, Jeremiah Jennings, is the owner of Growing Green Landscapes in Birmingham, Alabama, and has a passion for growing the entrepreneurship community for those who are young in business. Being a business owner isn't easy, especially in the early years, and that's why in this show we dive into a wide range of topics covering all the challenges small business owners deal with. Even if your company is generating $1 million or more, the stories from our great guest and Jeremiah's own firsthand experiences will propel your business forward. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode today. We truly do value and appreciate your listenership and your support in helping us grow the podcast. Today, we have another guest interview, and this is going to be a really fun one as well. Love getting these guest interviews on, and none other than Michael Bedell from Bedell Property Management. And Michael, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I reached out to you a little bit ago and wanted to link up. I know, like I said, we were talking off air here. I've heard a lot about you, and so I was like, well, I mean, you've kind of been infamous. I haven't been able to get my hands on you or talk to you or anything, so I wanted to get you on for a podcast tonight and see how much value we can bring. I know you are a man full of value, and just wanted to see if we can hear some more of your story and just kind of dive into some things tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, like I said, we don't script it here. We want to get into some fun conversation, and I want you to run the show. I want you to take it and run with it. But I would like to hear maybe some more. I don't think I've ever really heard your full story behind Bedell Property Management. So I wouldn't mind hearing that and then seeing where we can go from there.
Sure. So I guess, to keep probably too long of the story short, I was the neighborhood lawn kid. Through, trying some other typical high school jobs like dishwasher and working at the local ice arena, realized that I kind of like cut grass more than those. So I decided to kind of stick with it and spend a little bit of time as a professional musician, but still continued to cut lawns and spread mulch, and had my goofy musician friends help me out through that. And then that was kind of really the infancy of Bedell Property Management. And as I decided music wasn't maybe going to be the career that I wanted to follow, I decided to get 2 degrees, one in ornamental horticulture and another in landscape design, and use those as a platform to really grow my company. I originally started off doing a lot of maintenance work and wanted to grow and be real big. I had grown up as a child around the mold development industry and real big projects in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And so I thought that's where the money lied, and it was important to be the biggest guy in town. And I made it up to a handful of trucks and 13 guys, and realized maybe that really wasn't for me. And over the past 5 years, has really niched down the business, and it went to me and a couple people. And then as labor's gotten tougher here the past year and a half, it's been just me, and it's kind of refreshing, and I get to focus on a few specialty clients and a lot of dotting I's and crossing T's for other contractors, and it's fun. I get to kind of focus on specialty stuff, and I really enjoy what I'm doing. And obviously, as way too many people in our industry fight the good battle of labor right now, I selfishly don't have to do that, and I feel for everyone. But that's kind of where I've gone and where I'm at.
That's really cool. So I didn't realize. Well, 2 things. I didn't realize you got that big. First off, can you hear me? I've muted my phone. Can you hear me though? Can you hear me now?
Oh, yep, you're back now. Yeah.
Okay, I lost you. All right, I'm trying to. This is the first. I got a new board, and this is the first phone interview that I've done on it. So I was trying to do something to help the echo, but back now, so we're good. This is Kid Podcaster over here, but
gotcha. Yeah, did all that come through?
Oh yeah, no, I heard you all good. Yeah, no, we're all good.
Okay,
I just muted
gotcha.
it. Yeah, I just muted it on my end. So.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is an awkward pause, but it's like a plane flying overhead from I'm sitting on my patio.
Yeah. No. You're all good. Everything is coming through clear, and this is sounding good. But two things. One, I didn't realize you got that big, and then the other thing is I didn't realize you were totally solo now. So both, I like both of those things. I kind of want to dive into those a little bit more and kind of just let's get into the meat of it. When you grew and you scaled, what do you think? Well, let's go back. If you could do it all over again, what would you change? What would you change if you were growing? And would you do it again? Just would you do it again? Period. Because that's something that I hear. I know a lot of people have scaled and gone back down solo, and they like the solo route. It sounds like you like it now. What were the pros and cons of being a scaling to a 10-person, 13-person company like that?
Well, I mean, I'd probably in theory, one of the pros was that I was doing like zero work out in the field and was really just managing and dealing with clients and networking and relationships and so on and so forth, and really kind of delegating the work to the couple guys that I had running the show at that point. But you know, it's interesting you ask. If you asked me a couple years ago would I do it again, I'd say yeah, probably without pausing. And now as time's gone on, like, I mean, I really don't have really any regrets, like, in my life. I kind of think everything happens for a reason. I mean, there's some stuff I don't like that happened, but, you know, if it didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So, I try and view life through you know, everything happens for a reason, like I said, lens. So, you know, but as time goes on, like I see the benefits of being maybe a little more calculated than I was, and when you're trying to grow a massive machine, you kind of just have to say yes. Sometimes it's just to keep the wheels on the train moving, if you will, and it's not necessarily really taking you down the track. Mm-hmm. And you know, as I get older and kind of think back and you know, I realized maybe, you know, mistakes I didn't even see until time goes on. You know, it's hard to say. I think I made the right move for the timing and where everything was at. I think that's, if anything, maybe the takeaway that people could take from that is that, you know, it was a move based on market cycles and availability of different things, be it work, labor, equipment, or otherwise. And, you know, that probably kind of leads into, you know, why I've gone completely the other way on that. So
that's I totally understand all of that stuff. And what do you think your biggest challenge was in being big? Is it because how long ago did you scale back down? Like, how long were you that size?
Oh gosh, the peak of it would have been probably around 2012, so really about 10 years ago.
Wow. Okay, so that was kind of before this whole labor shortage era thing that we've got going on right now, and the result of COVID. But was employees your biggest issue when you were that size? Because I like hearing guys out there, because there's a lot of guys that listen to the show who are dreaming. They're dreamers. They want to grow big companies, and they're on the pace to do that. So I like getting guys like you on who have been to that size of scale. And I know you weren't massive with 25, 30 guys, but 13 guys is still a lot. Like that's a lot to keep up with. So what was your biggest challenge at that size?
So I think you hit the nail right on the head. It was just keeping up with everybody. Actually, you know, it didn't have really the issues that we have today. In fact, I say all the time, you know, the amount of work that I got out of that crew and paying them only $10 or $12 or $8 an hour, which was at the time a very good wage for that. It was really incredible compared to the amount of work that I've gotten for $25 or $30 an hour out of the last handful of employees that have worked here. It's really kind of eye-opening, and it's kind of maybe the nail in the coffin of me making the move that I made. But in reality, it's like any other team, you know, whether it's a pro sports team or a school project or whatever. If you start adding numbers to things, you know, you're going to have people, you know, there's the gradient of talent, right? And you know, I just, you know, said a minute ago, they were all really great compared to now. Compared to then, you know, they weren't all, you know, A+ guys. And, it was, getting, I think it was probably some of the same challenges people face today where, if you're going to delegate, you've got to get your people to manage those people. And sometimes that in itself is part of the challenge. It's like the game totally aside from like, did you pull all the weeds, or did we trim the shrubs good enough, or did we remember to do the mulch over here? It's like, okay, but why didn't that get done? Well, this guy didn't do a good job. Well, is that your job to manage him, or is it my job? So, those were definitely one of the headaches. I was fortunate. It wasn't even though the labor was plentiful, the work was tighter back then. My pain point, thankfully, wasn't really getting the work. It was just dealing with, kind of, I guess, a light version of probably the nonsense everybody deals with now with a lot of employees. And I say that, kind of laughing there, because it's a bunch of my friends still have, Fullerton's got a couple guys, or a buddy of mine still has 30 employees, and it some days is great, and other days it's kind of like a 3-ring circus, and it is what it is.
Yeah, so you mentioned Fullerton there. How did you get so lucky to be the subcontractor for the famous YouTuber, infamous Brian Fullerton?
Yeah, right on. Well, I guess we could blame Dan Weingart for that, really. It's probably all his fault. Yeah, so he has these open houses every spring where, they grill some steak and have some food, and they have some deals on parts and equipment, and they have all the contractors out, and just have a little contractors day for us. And so I've gone to that probably for 15 plus years now, and it was 5 or 6 years ago. There was a guy wandering around with a camera, and I admittedly know the Weingarts family pretty well, and well enough that I kind of made the assumption that, like, oh, of course, Dan and Ron hired a photographer to get some photos of this for their advertisements. The place is packed, right? Yeah, this makes them look great. Like, geez, if I wanted to advertise my business, I'd want a bunch of photos of my showroom packed, making it look like, I'm almost having to beat away the sales. Like, whoa, go away, we got too many people here. Rather than, the other way around, the showroom where the mowers are all lined up, but there's no one there, right? And, it just speaks to kind of, Weingart's has got a good thing going, that they can host a party, and then the room is packed, and everyone's, waiting in line to spend their money. So, so anyway, I said to Brian, not knowing who he was, and I think admittedly, his follower count was probably in the hundreds, maybe thousands at that point on YouTube. And he at that point didn't really have the rig he has now, so he didn't really have any of the branding. But like I said earlier, I'd been a little bit bigger. And actually, one of his mom's neighbors worked for me for a while. So he knew who I was. I didn't know who he was. And so I said to him, like, oh, yeah, Dan and Ron Weingart's got you taking photos? And he goes, no, I'm a YouTuber. And I like paused, because it was not the answer I was expecting. And him and I just ended up chatting for a while. And I don't even think we really exchanged numbers or anything. I think it was just kind of like, all right, I'll see you around. And I think maybe we ran into each other once or twice throughout the summer, now that we knew who each other was, maybe a supplier or something. And it was when Brian wanted to get into snow plowing and was looking at snow plows that we both had the same sales guy at Weingart. And Ted gave Brian, our sales guy, Ted gave Brian my number. Well, why don't you chat with Bedell a little bit before you drop like 6, 8, 10 grand on a snowplow and or a salter, and decide, maybe what's a good move, what's not a good move. Maybe make sure you got your pricing in line. That way you don't, swing and miss on this. And so Brian called and said, hey, can we get dinner sometime and I just pick your brain and you let me know how close to the target I am on any of this stuff. And actually, I think I ended up hanging out a couple different times, and it just kind of become like everyone's seen, good friends, and we work together, and it's a beautiful thing when you can make good money with good friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like you got a good thing going, and it's really cool that you were. I mean, it sounds like you were almost kind of like a mentor to him, even if you weren't trying to be. You kind of were, just back in the when he was trying to grow and get his numbers right and get into those, then the snow and stuff, and that's stuff that you had learned. So, I don't know. I think that's really cool that you can network, because that's not something that's common. Like I don't know if y'all's area is the same as ours, but a lot of times you'll drive by a quote unquote competitor, somebody out mowing or fertilizing, whatever, and they just they won't even wave at you. I mean, is it the same way up there the way it is down here? Does everybody have is everybody pretty good close friends up there?
Oh, I'd say it's like a hard divide down the middle. You have some people who are totally off in their own little world, and that's fine. I guess let them be. But I think that in my 17, I guess going on 18 years of doing this, I think that I've seen a transition where when I first started, everyone was real close to the chest with everything, and nobody waved, and there wasn't really even too many friends in the industry other than maybe a little bit of a good old boys club that, I was certainly way too young to be a part of then, and probably am still too young to be a part of now. But I think in the going on almost 2 decades now, it's been a slow transition, but I think now, if you hit the fast forward button and go from the beginning right to the end, I think it's increased, like I say, probably about half the contractors. Everyone's, throwing what ups at each other as they pass each other at stoplights or, cruising through a subdivision or, I think there's a lot more teamwork and, I even kind of the niche that we've fallen into where I do a lot of irrigation and fertilizer work and design consulting work for other contractors in my area. Obviously there's a level of trust there that, I'm going to go in and make them look like the rock star, and it's not really about me looking like a rock star. I'm there to make sure that they look good and they keep the account, and, I've got to go to a site tomorrow to wrap up some irrigation and fix a couple things so that a buddy of mine can get his check. So, which obviously then I get my check. So
you play a key role in there.
Yeah. So there's obviously a pretty high level of trust that when you're kind of like the go-to player, if you will, to use a sports analogy. Like I guess it's a blessing to be the person that people want to put out there to seal the deal, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you kind of led us into our next, where I wanted to go next with this is, so you scaled, you grew. What were you doing during that time? Were you mowing? What all you were doing? Were you doing when you grew?
Yeah, so the beginning of that, I started my business. It was around 2005, and within a couple of years, the market really tanked in Southeast Michigan. Decent amount of the economic income to our area is based on the automotive industry, and when that fell into some hard times, almost 15 years ago now. That really had a ripple effect through our area. A lot of there's thousands of companies in the area that are suppliers, parts suppliers to the big three, and so a lot of building vacancies, a lot of home foreclosures, and so in turn, as you can imagine, now that I've kind of painted that kind of not nice picture of what was going on, and I guess to paint that a picture a little bit more, going back a few years prior, the county that I live in Bryan, in Oakland County, at one point in time was the second wealthiest county in the United States, behind, I think it was Orange County, California. And so, to go from, wow, there's a lot of money here to, wow, there's a lot of foreclosures here is a pretty stark difference. So when I was really kind of getting my feet underneath me in the business, the design and install work and, flowers and kind of the finer stuff that I spend a lot of time on now, there was none of that. And it was just like, get the grass cut because we have to, or, how can we tear all these beds out and just make them grass because we got to cut down on maintenance costs, or, we actually got into a little bit of a niche back then that I think my friends at Landscape Management magazine once did an article on many years ago. I'm sure people can hunt that down on the interwebs. It was called Dark Property Management, where basically because I developed some relationships with some big national management companies. We kind of had a very honest conversation where rather than getting, I got to get 5 bids and we're going to go with the lowest bidder. It was like, this building's vacant. We're just trying to keep the city off the landlord's back. Like, here's our budget, which is nothing because there's no income on this building and it's a bleeding asset for the landlord. Like, how can we develop some sort of plan where we maintain what we need to, but we don't have the city fining us and just further burying our landlord to the point where he gets foreclosed on, and then this all goes belly up. So I got into building these management plans that weren't overly glamorous, but covered our costs and made us money. And actually even worked with the cities a little bit, a few different local municipalities in terms of working with their zoning department to kind of shape what was and wasn't reasonable in certain areas. We came to some agreements. And so it was kind of an interesting process. And then the market recovered a few years later and all that stuff faded away as people wanted to move back into those buildings. And we slowly, over the next 5 years, actually transitioned to the complete other end of the market, where we really focused on a lot of higher end homes and some of those people's buildings, because people that live in nice homes make that money some way, and some of them make it through commercial real estate or otherwise. And so we kind of moved on from really working with property management companies to more privately held things. And as we kind of really grew into that niche, that's really kind of what I've whittled down to today, where there's just a small portfolio of privately held commercial buildings and multi-million-dollar estates that I maintain, and then another portion of my portfolio is doing work for Brian and a handful of other friends of mine. And so it's kind of gone from that just doing maintenance work to getting to do the design and build plus the maintenance work. And now we truthfully do very little maintenance work other than what's on those handful of properties. That's what keeps me busy.
Yeah, I think you got a hold of the little bit of notes I had before this. I think you got a hold of those because you just keep making seamless transitions for us tonight. So you stay one step ahead of me. That's where I wanted to go next. So now, from what I've seen on your Instagram and stuff, and heard what you've talked about other places, you're doing a lot of higher end stuff. The stuff that you do have are very high end customers. It's niche and very detail oriented. And I heard on Paul's podcast you have somebody in the Forbes top 50. Is that right?
Yeah, yep.
That's crazy. So and this is obviously not going to say who it is, but is there any how do you even get in those circles? Like, how do you get in that door? Is that something? Because the reason I ask that is not to be like starstruck. Whoa, that's somebody in the Forbes. Like, yeah, that's insane. I think you know that, but maybe somebody else could take something from this and learn, because I know that's a big goal for a lot of people is they want to work for high-end customers who really want the best service and they want to pay for that. They want to pay for a premium. But those kind of people don't run in the everyday circles out in the community. Like they have their own certain groups. So like, is there any advice you could give to somebody on like how do you even do that? How do you even try to get in those type of circles to get your name out there?
Yeah, well, admittedly, it's tough because there is a barrier to entry, and it's timing. The biggest element I think is being in the right place at the right time. I've always kind of believed that life is a big job interview, and whether you're pumping gas at the gas station, or taking the garbage out, or whatever it is, all these mundane tasks that we do, it's how we do them that you never know who's watching and who's going to be seeing things, or who's going to meet with somebody that you work for and ask some questions. And all those big accounts have come from referrals, but the getting in the right spot to even get that first account, an element to that was timing. And I think it's some of the bigger accounts that we've got, the few that I still do now, that I've done basically my entire career, that I think there was an element of the market was curving a little bit, and a nice way to cut some costs was take a chance on someone that maybe was young and had some lower overhead, but wasn't necessarily short on some experience, because I spent a lot of time in the classroom. Ultimately, I think just being in the right place at the right time it will probably get you in those doors. The problem is you can't ever act a fool. Like you've got to bring your A game everywhere, and because in turn, like, you just don't know who's around and out and about. The thing I think people like don't always realize is that when we see celebrities out and about, or when I was servicing an account the other year, I had to stop because the vice president had to drive by, and they didn't want any power equipment going, on the weird chance that like the lawnmower blade ricochets a rock and it hits the limo or something like that. Yeah. And so when big people go around, there's this entourage, right? But a lot of the real wealth doesn't have an entourage, and there are people that even live pretty humbly in your area that have some deep pockets.
Yeah.
And I think to kind of finish that statement off, I think as we move into different economic conditions the next 24 months, I've already seen a move to deep value from everyone who's understands kind of the bigger economic picture here, and they're looking to align with someone that maybe price isn't the biggest of concern, depending on what market you're living in and what type of work you're doing, but there will become a crunch here where if you can't perform on the quality and somebody else can, the fact that the prices have gone up and up and up and up, there's ever any twist on that and the quality isn't super, super high, I think the people that they almost have the three-ring circus going, if you will, it's going to get really, really tough, really, really quick, because people may be able to put a better product together than you can at a lesser cost. And they've seen that a couple times in my career, and I think I smell it coming again.
Yeah, and I like everything you just said there. There's so much knowledge and wisdom in just that last 2 minutes. One of the things that I think I take away the most is it goes back to, I think everybody knows this, but it's good to be reminded of it, of even when you're sitting there pumping gas, people are watching you. That's something that is just so crazy. And like, you don't, even if it's at the end of the day, but if you're in a company truck or something, even if you're not in a company truck, but you're out in the community, people see you out mowing and you're out there pumping gas with a cigarette hanging out of your mouth and pants half down, like nobody with any wealth or, I don't know, I guess just nobody with high end property that they're not going to call you. They're not going to want you on their property if you're not looking professional. So I think that's really good because you never know who's driving around. And
100%, very well said.
And that just that really hits on to me. That's something that is I need to definitely take and think about every time I'm out in public. And even like when you answer your phone, it's like when I called you for this interview, like you answered so professional, and it's 5:30, no 6:30 for you at night, and it's like, but if somebody called you wanting an estimate or something, your professionalism in answering the phone automatically tells them this guy knows what he's doing. He's not just some Joe Blow guy off the street. Like he runs a professional company. And I took a lot just from the way you answered your phone call. So I know somebody out there who's looking to get work done thinks the same way. But before we wrap this up, we're sitting at 30 minutes here. I wanted to ask you really quickly. So we had John Pajak on not too long ago, and Pajak is a brilliant guy when it comes to numbers and a very, very smart dude. I know, at least I hear, that you are similarly equipped with your knowledge of numbers and things like that. So you mentioned the economy and the recession that we all foresee coming, honestly. I mean, we don't like talking about it, but I think a lot of people see it coming. What advice, hints, anything you can give when it comes to helping just us? I mean, all of us out there running businesses right now, guys, maybe they're young in business or they've been running a business for 10 years. I mean, what can we do heading into these next couple years to just keep our numbers right and just some advice to keep us profitable and maybe change our companies and keep us afloat?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wholeheartedly agree. John Pajak is not only a very good friend, but a very astute individual. Definitely a very, very smart guy. And I think that was the podcast you did with him was excellent, but was also the tip of the iceberg in terms of his knowledge. And so I think if anyone has those type of questions with their business, whether it's me or someone like John Pajak, there's a whole multitude of good resources out there for people to get the help that they really ought to take us up on. Because if you are having any issues now in terms of cash flow or budgeting, or how do I job cost this, or how do I provide this new service and provide it profitably, the tide is turning quick here, and some would argue we're already in a recession. We just need the GDP number that comes out the next month to prove that, I guess. Mm-hmm. But if right now the wave has been very easy to ride the past 24 months. Thinking back to a podcast I did a couple of years ago with Brian, it was right before the lockdowns, and him and I were all gung-ho, this is going to be everybody's year. And then we kind of felt dumb for a minute, him and I, because people in some markets, they were rocking and rolling, but we were locked down in Michigan. And then by the end of the year, things were on fire for everyone. And there was all this talk of Americans building the great backyard. And that's continued, I think, up until, maybe it's still going for some people. I think it's starting to dwindle in some markets quicker than others. But I think there's going to be a tightening of liquidity here. And in the past couple of years, it's been easy to do good, and we've had all these excuses to easily raise prices and have people generally shrug them off. And high prices can hide a lot of sins and mistakes. And but I think that we may see a level of tightening, and it could come from a whole host of different things. It could be the bullwhip effect. It could be the Fed proves that they aren't really in control of anything at this point, and they need inflation to pay back their debt. in cheaper dollars. And so this whole we need to have deflation thing is really it puts the Fed and the U.S. dollar in a very tough spot if we do hit some level of serious deflation or stagflation. But that's what the people are screaming for. And so it'll be real interesting. I think short term, I think we may get a little bit of a bullwhip economically in terms of there's going to be some oversupply of some things that maybe don't influence our industry in terms of big box stores. But I think what will influence our industry is the manufacturing starting slow, be it from shortages or the lack of demand in some areas. I think that there could be some serious shortages in the next couple of years, just of really more economic day-to-day items. But I think that that'll influence the landscape market, because if there is a slowing down of the economy further, or unfortunately even a much more extreme slowing down, that can have a very serious effect on anybody who doesn't have any idea on how to really reel in their numbers or isn't running a budget-based business, which that's something that someone like myself or John Pajak certainly can help anyone out with. And we're certainly more than willing to do that, because we know that it's really the key to success. And the people who understand, it's one thing to have a vision, but to be able to play in real time with the numbers and hopefully still steer towards that vision, but also understand that, like any investment game, the numbers can go against you quickly, and a lot of landscape businesses are no different. And so, just, having goals and budgets towards those are great things, but being able to, say, take your budget and run a disaster case scenario where your revenue gets cut in half for a year, how does your business survive? Just this past week, the banks had to do a pressure test with the Fed, and I'm not sure a lot of businesses do pressure tests. And so, if you're doing those type of things and you're sitting in a good spot, then, you really shouldn't be scared about any of the things that I just said. But if you aren't doing those things, then, you're running on luck, whether someone's told you that or not yet. And the wise money is about to move out and hold for deep value. And if you're not deep value, could get a little tough here. So I guess maybe this is the shot across the bow for some people that you're not in tough times yet, and you can actually make this could be your biggest opportunity. You could make all your dreams come true, but it is a numbers game, and the people who know their numbers best, i.e. understand what it costs them to do anything and everything profitably, those are the people that will win and will be here as long as they want to be here.
Well, there's not much I can add to that. I agree. I agree with everything you said. And that's one thing that we say a lot on the show here is most guys that I think are listening in, and the majority of, entrepreneurship has kind of bursted onto the scene the last couple of years, I feel like, when it comes to just starting small businesses. And I think COVID had a lot to do with that. People staying home and started doing home-based businesses and things like that. But like for myself, I'm only in year 4 of my business. And so I've never worked through any type of hardship when it comes to the economy. And really anybody in the last 10 years hasn't dealt with anything other than an abundance of work, like plenty of work to go around. And I think what you're saying there is totally accurate, because I'm preparing every day, trying to prepare every day for there to be a day in the next months where calls stop coming in and new business slows down. And I think that's so crucial. Like, if I don't know, maybe just one piece of advice you could give, maybe one thing. What could you do to prepare your business for that, other than know your numbers and get a budget and a plan like that? Is there any one thing that you think would just be like, you need to definitely do this?
Well, if you don't have a very strong balance sheet, i.e., you have a lot of liabilities against your assets, then I would be figuring out how to strengthen your balance sheet as quickly as possible. Because the people that have a whole lot of paid for assets that produce them money that doesn't really matter what the value of them does, then they don't really care what the value of them is, right?
Yeah.
Versus the people that owe money on things and need to pay for all those things, and that is the part of the recipe of quick growth is if you can see something all the way through to the end, you can achieve that growth. But the economy doesn't always have the same timeline that some people have. So my quick tip to everybody is, if you don't know what a balance sheet is, look it up. Send me a message. Send John a message. Send somebody else who you think might know a message. Call a financial a planner and have some conversations with them and ask them why that's important. Talk to your accountant about it. And if you don't have an accountant and you're not strong at your books, get an accountant and ask them to help prepare you a balance sheet and help you understand what that is. But all the people that I work for which thankfully it's pretty much all of them that have very, very strong balance sheets right now. We kind of all know it's coming, but we're not very nervous about it. Versus if you're somebody that is like I think I've heard you say, a lot of your audience is newer guys. You haven't maybe had the luxury that I've had of all this time to build that up, and that is unfortunate, but the economy doesn't care. And so this is the time to get creative and figure out, maybe is there a different, smarter way for you to reduce a debt position and increase your cash flow? Because if you can't increase your cash flow today while things are still good, you will have a harder time if things do fall apart here a little bit, increasing your cash flow, unless of course you want to be the $20 long guy or Chuck in the truck, in which case you can undercut everybody. But if you're still not doing that in a profitable manner, you do end up like a lot of those people. And I guess that's kind of maybe the last thing I'll mention is there will be new people that enter the market out of desperation, probably, or otherwise, that want to try and undercut stuff. And don't play that game. Don't freak out about it. Yes, you may lose some clients. Those aren't the clients you want anyway. And don't play that game, because those guys never survive. Someone who's been in the business a little bit longer than maybe someone who's only done this a couple of years, play your game. Know what your costs are. Know what your bottom line is. Know what you can and cannot do work for. And that way it makes it really easy to say no to nonsense that you need to stay away from. But the importance of knowing how low you can do work for may have some value in the future, especially if, say, a client that you want to maintain for the long term has some tough times and you want to maintain that relationship. You can know how to dig deep and work together for a couple of years, so you can both make a lot of money in the future.
Well, everybody needs to go back and listen to the last 15 minutes about 2 or 3 times and take it and let it really sink in, because you just dropped so much knowledge and wisdom that I think is going to be very crucial to have in your repertoire coming up in the next couple of months and years to come. So I really do appreciate you coming on tonight, Michael. I do have one final question that I like asking all our guests here, and it's pretty simple, but it can be complex. And it's just, what is your why?
Oh, well, that's a good one. My why is to leave the world a better place than the way I came into it. So I wake up every day and I just do what I'm supposed to do to the best of my ability, and try and help others that look like they need a little help. And that's why I'm happy to take moments like we've just had together on this podcast to help people out any way I can, because we only get so much time, but if you make the most of it, it's a pretty good ride.
That's right. It's all about how you spend it, and I think you've done that tonight. You've added so much value, and I know guys and girls out there are going to listen in. They're going to learn a lot from this. So where can everybody find you if they do want to connect with you, maybe about getting some help with their numbers or just anything along the lines of helping their business? How can they reach out and connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can always find me at debtfreelandscaper.com or Instagram, Facebook, Debt-Free Landscaper, or you can find my business, bedellpropertymanagement.com or at Bedell Management, that's MGMT. Nice little abbreviation there over on Instagram and Facebook. And feel free to shoot me a message, and I'm always happy to get back to people. Sometimes it takes a day or two, but really do enjoy connecting with everybody and trying to help people out with stuff that might be a big issue for them, but pretty easy solution for somebody who's been around the block. And I'm always happy to take the time. That way, we all do what we're supposed to be doing, and don't sweat the little stuff, because in reality, I think it's all little stuff.
Absolutely, man. That's good stuff. Well, we will leave the links to the Debt-Free Landscaper and your Instagram in the show notes today, so y'all can just go click on those, and it'll take you straight to them to connect with Michael. And go to let him shoot him a message, let him know that you enjoyed this episode if you did. And if you did enjoy it, would you leave us those ratings and reviews, because those really do help us. Just give us a big 5-star and leave a little 1-sentence review, like takes 30 seconds, and it really helps boost us in the rankings and the algorithm to reach a bigger community, so we can continue to grow the community one relationship at a time. Well, Michael, I do want to say thank you one more time for coming on and joining us tonight here on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm always happy to take the time, and I look forward to chatting with you and the rest of the community as we move closer to a Quip Expo this fall.
Absolutely. You going to be there? That's what I was just about to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and another way that people can connect with me is I've got some cool stuff that should be coming out over on echomeansbusiness.com, and I know we've got Hardscape Month coming up, and then some fun stuff with the tree care industry, and all of that kind of leads towards the Quip Expo. So yes, I will most definitely be there hanging out with my friends from Echo and Echo Means Business, and and I'm looking forward to just getting to hang out with our community. We got such a cool group of folks here, so really looking forward to it. I assume you also will be attending, am I right?
Planning on it. We have I have a little boy coming in September, so it's going to be a little close to a Quip, but we should be there. I'm going to try to make it. So it depends on if the wife lets me go, but we should. I think we'll be able to make it work. Sure.
Well, if not, gosh, what a cool reason to be able to skip
exactly
going, and I wish you guys luck with that journey between now and then, and obviously forward on from there.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, if there was one reason I had to miss, that's a pretty good reason. So we'll take it. But I'm looking forward to it. I want to go because I didn't even realize, I was looking through your Instagram, I didn't realize you were at the GIE rally last year, the one that Naylor put on. I didn't even realize that. We missed each other, but I'm looking forward to connecting with a lot of other people this year, and you as well there in person. So without any further ado, that's going to wrap this episode up, and we look forward to catching up with everybody here on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green podcast. It is an honor to have you listening, and we hope you receive valuable advice to help take your business to the next level. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.